Hello, hashtag here. It's been a while. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a chat about creatine. It's probably the most studied substance in recent years, more so than alcohol, weirdly enough. I'll keep my opinions to myself. Okay, but creatine. Okay, why would we use creatine as an endurance athlete? It's well known amongst strength training. It actually enhances the training experience. It doesn't actually make you stronger, but it actually makes you train harder. Now, let me explain why. Creatine produces synthetically a substance called ATP. Some of you guys may know what ATP is, adenosine triphosphate. Now, ATP, the three prongs, need to stick into the muscle and twist and snap to actually create that electrical charge and that muscle fiber to actually twinge, so that you can either push, pull, lift, whatever. If ATP is not present, it doesn't actually work well. Like weight training, for example, if you do 8 reps quite heavy, towards the end of the 8, this keeps twisting and snapping, and eventually there's no more triphosphate left. So what happens? It turns into a biphosphate, which is useless, rendered useless. But creatine produces this third triphosphate, so you can actually carry on. So instead of struggling, arbitrary figure, but instead of struggling up at 8 reps, you could do actually 10 or 12 a lot better. So more harder training, a lot more damage, long as you eat the right foods, a lot more recovery, and you're going to get stronger muscles. Now, what does that mean as far as endurance athlete is concerned? Now, endurance athletes, let's just say that we could do surges from a cycling perspective. We could do surges moving around in a bunch or actually on the road, working against the wind, working against the terrain, working against hills, working a bit harder. From cycling, you've got the sprint finishers, the same in any sports. If you're racing against someone, whether that's swimming, cycling, running, any endurance sports, you want to put that surge in at the end, and it actually gives you the ability to actually do that a little bit more than if you didn't use creatine, for example. Breakaways, so it's about the hard stuff, the real high-end stuff, the VO2 max stuff. What it also can do is actually help with your training volume. You can do more reps, as I said, in the gym. You can maintain your power across certain intervals. So it's that repeatability. That seems to be the favourite phrase at the moment. Repeatability. Say that when you're drunk. No comments about the alcohol. You can handle higher training loads. What it can also do is actually enhance your glycogen storage. Glycogen is the carbohydrate actually you've got in the muscles when that twist and snap goes. You can actually get better at that if you actually take creatine. And the glycogen resynthesis after you exercise actually speeds up that process. There's been recent studies to also say from a psychological perspective, creatine has been used in people with Parkinson's and other of those type of mental illnesses where it attacks the central nervous system, and there's been some good results. But the jury's still out. There's still loads of white papers about that. But if you're interested, contact me or Google it, and you'll see that a lot of people are actually using creatine for psychological impact, which is really good. Now, that's the pros. The cons. With more damage and more inflammation, you're going to get more water. So technically, you could be up to 10% more water per day. Your kidneys handle about 150 litres a day. So that could go up to 165. And unless you hydrate properly, that's going to be a problem. Renal failure is a major thing. Many years ago when people were actually abusing creatine, so much so that actually, if I remember rightly, correct me if I'm wrong, the French and the South African actually banned it. It's actually not banned anymore because there's a lot more studies behind it, but just be aware that there's more hydration required, should I say. Now, with that extra water weight, you got more body weight. Now, endurance athletes, especially cyclists, are always about power to weight. What am I going to do? Okay, but the power offsets the weight. If you're going to build up and use it in training, no problem at all. But I would suggest probably 3 or 4 weeks leading up to one of your big competitions, come off the creatine and you actually dissipate the water weight. But you've still got the benefits from all the training you did with it. So that's creatine. We'll have beetroot juice, we'll have tart cherry juice, we'll have that. And we'll also talk about protein powder and supplements when it comes to regaining muscles. But that's creatine. Okay, let's crack on. Ciao, ciao.